All right, guys, welcome to this live. This is Rey Ortega. I'm your host for the AI Automation Alchemist podcast. Today, I'm doing this live directly to my group. So if you're in my group, you're getting exclusive access. I just wanted to quickly jump on and just talk a little bit about the thing that is on the minds of many people as AI taking over jobs. And I came across some information today that I thought was very pertinent. I thought it'd be great to share. Thought I'd share this with you, and hopefully give you guys some hope for those that are wondering what AI is doing and just kind of worried about whether AI is going to take over X, Y, Z, whatever the newest flavor of what it's going to take over. Right? You see these in these posts all the time. It says um, AI just killed X, AI just killed Y, and that's just the thing that it's just this constant push. Right? It freaks people out. And I just wanted to touch on that subject today.
The most real and relevant resource on AI and automation. AI Automation Alchemist podcast, sponsored by Grata Software.
If you guys know who I am, my name is Rey Ortega, and I'm the owner of Grata Software and also the owner of Go Digital Strike. So Grata Software is my custom software engineering company. What we do is we work with small to medium-sized businesses and helping them build out artificial intelligence and automation solutions within their business, fully customized, fully bespoke. If you go to gratasoftware.com, you can check us out there. And then Go Digital Strike. So this brand, if anyone knows this, and the people who are in my group obviously know this. So if you're in the group, you already know what this is. This is our program to teach people artificial intelligence, utilizing artificial intelligence in the sales and marketing spectrum of your business, trying to use the tools in order to be able to get new customers, speak in the language of your customers, being able to create great offers to those customers and be able to increase sales and scalability. I have personally experienced building over 250 applications in all different areas, everything from mobile apps to games to hardware-based software. Through those years of experience, we've already known artificial intelligence has existed. We've been using artificial intelligence to some form or fashion. A lot of the physics engines you see in games have been already using some level of neural networks, predictive analytics, artificial intelligence, collision detection. All of those things are all part of a grand word called artificial intelligence. And we've already seen that the percentage of accuracy is not 100%. You will never get 100%. My personal opinion, the opinions of many engineers who work in the field, you will not get 100%. So that's why we're having this conversation today about replacing jobs. That is the thing on everyone's mind. Are we replacing jobs with AI? And why are people like myself? Why are we building AI tools for small businesses, for medium-sized businesses? Why are we giving them the leverage in order to take people's work from them? And the reality is we're not. It was never the case. The artificial intelligence that you are experiencing today is called large language models. It's part of another faction called natural language processing. So natural language processing has been around for many, many years. And the one difference between natural language processing and now that what we call large language models is they added this component called a transformer. And a transformer allowed text that was being fed through the neural network to now have a relationship to other text so that it understands the context of what the conversation is. Because all we're talking about is a predictive word tool that takes a bunch of words and then it does a bunch of mathematical calculations to determine what's the next best word in that phrase or in that sentence. And what you see on the screen essentially is those computations happening in real time. And it's putting together those words back to you. And that's what you're seeing. So as I'm telling you that, it's predicting. It's not deterministic. It's probabilistic. So it's looking at a probability calculator and saying, is it probable that this word and this word go together in a sentence? Now, on very precise businesses or very precise types of jobs, would you feel more comfortable with a probabilistic model, or would you feel more comfortable having a flat out solution, a 1 or 0, a yes or a no, a direct answer? If I was a surgeon and I was going to provide heart surgery, you would probably want me to know exactly what I'm doing and the end result that's going to come out of that. We're trying to use these probabilistic models in order to be able to tell people that these things are now going to take your job. These things are going to be performing at a higher accuracy than you are as a human. And the reality is that's not impossible, but it's highly improbable. And the reason why is because there's still a percentage of accuracy. And again, I personally don't believe we will ever get to 100%. It's hard for anyone to think that um, a mathematical system that doesn't have real reason, real logic, real intelligence is going to come up with a real answer. It'll come up with a probability of an answer, right? And then it's up to the programmers at that point to take that information and say, oh, well, if it's within a certain percentage of error here, then we'll say that that means X, right? Then that becomes a programming thing, a human in the loop that's creating that program that's telling it to do X, Y, Z. Perfect example. I have a Tesla. I drive a Model Y. When I'm driving my Model Y, I mean the car. I've had the car for since 2021, and when I'm on autopilot and it's driving by itself, it has labeled data about everything around me, right? However, every once in a while, so if you're driving on the left hand side, you have a median. And in that median, if there's like a space in there for cars to turn around, when the Tesla sees that space, for some reason, it slams on the brakes. Doesn't do it on everyone, but it does it on some of them because it's just guessing. It's going with a best guess. And that's kind of how that works. And imagine Tesla, who's been at it for how many years, every time they do a new update, the car tends to act a little bit differently in certain areas. And the reason why is because it's constantly being trained on information and then coming up with a new probability. And so when we talk about jobs, and that's why I want to talk about jobs today, I want to talk about not only jobs, but just companies in general, your business, because I think there's a lot of fear right now of what AI actually does and what it can actually do for you. Because I'm not a naysayer in AI. I'm a huge proponent of artificial intelligence because not only do I build artificial intelligence solutions for companies, I build solutions that are actually help the company. I'm not just trying to earn money to become an influencer in AI. I'm actually providing real solutions to companies. That's what my company, Grata Software, that's what we're doing. On a high level, we are working with companies and building real solutions that those companies can take and deliver real results. And then we use the Go Digital Strike to be able to train people who maybe don't have the funds to be able to build out their own artificial intelligence solutions, but they can at least get great information and great training on how to leverage artificial intelligence to automate a lot of their workflows without them having to pay a lot of money to a high level consultant. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I know I just went on this whole rant, is kind of something that supports what I just said. So I don't know how many of you guys have heard of Ford. Recently, Ford had to rehire hundreds of engineers because AI failed to do quality checks that a human could do better. And this is an interesting subject. And in fact, I'm going to pop up the article real quick so that you can see what I'm talking about. So like forces hiring back human engineers after AI failed to match their skills and experience. So we're talking about here is 300 veteran quality inspectors. And this is basically what's happening right now. Now you may ask yourself, okay, what is it that the inspectors are doing? What was the AI inspectors doing? Now, this goes back to what I was saying is artificial intelligence is probabilistic. It probably was capturing certain areas of a vehicle in the assembly line where the car didn't meet standards. But the question is, who set those standards? A human did. And then it had to feed it into the AI engine. And then the AI engine had to now make a probabilistic determination as to whether the vehicle was meeting the inspection requirements. However, the system doesn't have true reasoning. So when we hear about reasoning in a large language model or any type of AI, when we talk about reasoning, the reasoning part is where it's thinking, it's taking information and it's having to absorb it and then now apply it to its experience in multiple areas, right? The problem is AI doesn't have experience like we do. We have touch, taste, feel, hear, we have all that stuff. And so that's where our reasoning comes from. It comes from organic work that's happening within our brain, neurons that are connecting this touch, this smell, the taste, the feel of things that are going on in our life. And then it comes up with reasoning and logic to determine whether what we're doing or what it's looking at is correct. And so we have that capability. AI doesn't. It's a bunch of ones and zeros. Can I just say that? I mean, let's look at that. It's a bunch of ones and zeros. At the end of the day, everything that happens in artificial intelligence has to be converted to the most simplest form, which is a 1 or a 0. It's a true or a false. So the only way it has the capability of doing anything close to reasoning is that you need to run it through a whole bunch of layers of neural networks with training data that gives it what seems to be like, oh, this is a probability of this is a probability, gives it some reasoning, but it's not true reasoning, because at the end of the day, it's got to say 1 or 0. And so it doesn't have that capability. The example I give people is you met someone who maybe they weren't extremely pretty, or they wore something that just wasn't that nice. But because you're a respectful, kind person, you said, hey, you look beautiful today, just because you want them to feel better about themselves. To AI, you have just lied, because it does not know the context of human elements. It doesn't know the context that the reason why you were saying that was because you wanted that person to feel better about themselves and you didn't want to talk down to them, make them feel bad about how they look or how they feel, right? So you said, you look beautiful today. But if we were to train an AI model about lying, right there, AI would consider that a lie. It's a 1 or 0. You lied. It doesn't matter why, but you lied. It's either you tell the truth or you don't. It's either it's right or it's wrong at the end of the day. Now, yes, large language models smoothen that over with a whole bunch of text and words and make you try to feel special and yada, 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 and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, again, it all converts to 1s and 0s. It all converts to either yes or no. And so if the words go together and it's a high probability of those words go together, it will stick them together and it'll send it to you. And that's the end result you get. And that's the reason why you get hallucinations. That's the reason why you get wrong answers. It's because there's no true intelligence happening in the background. So going back to this story is, if the job of the AI was to analyze a automobile coming across the assembly line and determining what areas don't meet qualifications, it may be given a bunch of images, because this is probably what happened. It probably was given a bunch of images to determine what's good, what's bad. But it's the nuance, the small elements that are between the what's good and what's not, is where it had its problem. And that's the reason why the accuracy numbers weren't that good. And so they ended up having to go back and get humans. Now, this is not a new thing, by the way. We've already heard about, I believe it was Klarna, one of those companies, their customer service agents. They let go of all their customer service agents and had AI answer all the calls for customer service. And then in turn, a few months later, they had to bring back a bunch of people from customer service, because the humans that were trying to communicate with their chat bot or their service bot were not getting the results, because there's nuances to every phone call. This happened to me with Verizon. Perfect example. So Verizon, about a year and a half ago, I switched from Verizon to AT&T. I loved Verizon. The reason why I signed up for Verizon is because I could go up to the Smoky Mountains and be at the top of the mountain and still get signal. So I got Verizon. Well, here we are after 2022, 2023, now 2024, Verizon decides we're going to switch all of our customer service agents to AI bots and chat bots. So what ended up happening? So I had an issue with a bill, and I called the 800 number, and I sat there and I was going through the whole the merry-go-round of click 1, click 2, click 3, and so on and so forth. And I was like, just give me a human. Just give me. And then at the end it said, well, we can only give you a human if you can answer and validate these specific answers. And the problem, my situation didn't have an answer for those answers that they wanted. And so I was stuck. I couldn't talk to a human. At the end of the day, I had to go to an actual Verizon store and be like, this is the situation. And then we worked it out at the store. But again, it's because on the call center, they're removing humans and doing mostly agents, AI agents, to handle that. And to me, that's the problem. The problem is like those little nuances that you call about. Another company had the same problem when it came to refunds. People were calling and asking for a refund, and they never got a refund, because the system kept redirecting them, because they had a logic in there that said, when they ask for a refund, let's get them into this sales funnel to try to keep them, reduce their costs, reduce their bill, or like in some places, remove what they owe and then reoffer them a new offer. Well, they kept getting caught up in this cycle, and they never got to what they wanted to, which was, I just need to pay the bill or I need to cancel. They wanted to cancel. Most people wanted to cancel or wanted a refund, and they couldn't get it. And so this is not a new thing, like I said. And that's the issue that we're dealing with when it comes to artificial intelligence. And that's the part that you're not seeing a lot of conversations about that. Now, more than ever, it's important to have this conversation. And again, I'm a huge fan of AI. I'm telling you, because despite what's happening in our world with artificial intelligence and what people are doing, despite what's happening, the fact is that even if AI were to go away tomorrow, it's not really going to go away because we've been using it for years. There's so many other avenues of using artificial intelligence that we don't even talk about because we're all stuck in this large language model cycle. What's the next model? What's the next model? What's the next model? And that's that situation. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about real quick, there was a report that came out today. If you're one of those people that are using artificial intelligence agents, OpenClaw, you're using harnesses like Hermes, things like that. There's reports that came out today, actually it was today or yesterday, that there were some nefarious hackers that have implanted nefarious models, or what we call polluted models, which can run code and run um, bad stuff on the back end of your agent or your agentic system. And this is something that I've been preaching about for a while, as far as like when people are talking about using MCP servers, or people are talking about, using all of these GitHub open source repos of all of these other tools that people are building using agentic systems, is we've gotten to this place where we've completely removed the expert from the list. I'm a software engineer, been a software engineer for 20 something years. Start off as an app developer, but software engineer. And I'm telling you, every time we build any software, especially a Grata software, when we're working with our clients, we're always building software that's highly scalable, but it's also secure. Highly secure. We need to meet SOC 2 compliance. We need to meet OWASP standards. There's so many things so many standards and qualifications, HIPAA compliance. Like, we got to meet all of those things. And the funny thing is, with all these agentic AI systems that people are out there, not only just building for themselves, but they're also out there trying to sell to small businesses and medium-sized businesses. They bypass all of that stuff because most of these people are marketers that are now selling the solution, and they're selling the solution without understanding what it actually takes for this stuff to run in a secure fashion. So what happens is hackers figured that out. They figured out that these people are, because they don't know the core, they don't know the software, the programming languages, they know they're just downloading a bunch of models, downloading a bunch of agents, pre-built agents. They're downloading frameworks that are built like, OpenClaw and Hermes, which are harnesses. They're downloading all of that stuff and just using it because it already exists. It makes life easy. I can just use my Claude code, or I can use my ChatGPT, and now I can have agents running all day and building all the stuff for me. But they're completely forgetting the fact that, like, programmers are programmers are programmers. So the people that program in C, C++, Java, all those OGs, right? These guys know how the code performs. They know what it can do. And they know that when you're downloading these libraries and these open source models and all this stuff, they know where they can implant the bad stuff. Truth be told, when MCPs came out, I gave a whole lecture of, this is how you can pollute an MCP in order to get someone else's system to give you information. Because it's not that hard if you know how to program, and the people that don't know how to program never look at it. And I'm not saying that because I want people to go out there and make bad stuff and do bad stuff to bad people, or do bad stuff to people. What I'm saying is just, this is the world we've become, that we've taken what I call, like, we've taken, like, someone who, it's like someone who goes to a heart surgeon and says, "Don't worry, my cousin and me, we got this." Like, it's kind of like that. Like, we've taken a profession that required a specific set of skills, knowledge, training, expertise, repetitive tasks to become an expert at it, understanding all the nuances. And we basically said, oh, we don't need those people anymore because we're just going to let this completely ambiguous system do all that work for us because it's cool. That's why it's called vibe coding. We're just vibing. But the problem is your vibe coding bugs into the system, authentication tokens into the system. People are leaving their keys, their security keys, which are private keys, SHA 256 keys. They're leaving them in their configuration files, loading them up to GitHub, sharing them by accident. And those things are all being taken by the people that know what they're doing, and they can literally use all that stuff. Like, the funny thing is especially if you're someone that uses the ChatGPT API or Claude API, you're leaving your API keys in some of these files, and you're allowing anybody to have access to your API. Because I sure as hell know that you're not going and you're not IP restricting or doing all the more advanced stuff in order to protect your keys, because you're just vibe coding. And so you're just putting all that stuff out there, and it easily can be stolen. Easily can be stolen, and easily can be used to inject bad stuff into your software, and in turn into your clients' computers, especially if you're one of those that's building a SaaS product that requires someone to download something or pull down something from the website or from the SaaS product, any files, anything. You ask for a PDF. Someone could put malicious code inside of a PDF. It's been a hacking way to do it for many, many years. Just ask Adobe. They've had to fight that for many years. So it's possible. And the thing is, now with the ability of or not the ability, but with the problem with people just vibe coding everything, not going to an expert who knows how to build real product and real services inside of the realm of software architecture, applications, even hardware. Like, you require private keys for two hardware pieces to communicate to each other using software. Private keys are required. If you're storing your private keys where they're visible to anybody, any hacker, then they can now communicate with your hardware. So that's what's going on. And I know that sounds all doom and gloom, but that's not what I'm here to tell you. I'm just here to let you know that there is a way out of it. There is a way not to do those things. And at the end of the day, it's what I say every single time. Like, you need an expert. You need an expert in the field. You need someone who knows what they're doing. You need someone that knows how to deliver the results that you're looking for. You need that. And so going on your own and just building all these things and all these cool tools and everything, that's all well and good. But wait to the next moment where you need to scale. You get more than a few clients, more than 100 clients, maybe 1,000 clients. You're going to need to scale. And when you go to that scaling phase, that's usually where things fall apart. So again, Grata Software, that's the company, gratasoftware.com. If you're interested in creating software that uses artificial intelligence, or you're looking for ways to streamline the processes of your business from an AI perspective or an automation perspective, definitely contact us at gratasoftware.com. You can email me directly at Rey, R-E-Y, at gratasoftware.com. And again, I'll be able to help you out, figure out how to help you in your business. And if you're a company that just, you're like, Rey, I don't know if I can do a software solution or whatever, but I just want to automate a few things in my business, simplify the process of how my business operates, then all you got to do is go to Go Digital Strike. You can schedule some time with me. And again, in here, you can just contact me, Rey, at REY at godigitalstrike.com. And I'll be able to set up an appointment, sit down with you, and figure out how we can solve your problems and get your company operating in a more efficient manner. So thanks for being on this live. If you're on this live, I appreciate you. And if you're on the podcast, I'll check you guys at the next podcast. Please like, subscribe, follow. If you're seeing this on the podcast, or even if you're seeing this on YouTube or anything, just make sure you subscribe so you can get a notification for the next video that comes out. And I look forward to catch you guys in the next video. Alrighty, bye. AI Automation Alchemist Podcast.